Please, and this is my online video presentation for the 3240 Provincial Instructor Diploma Program course. My video this afternoon is going to be on how to make ice candles. The most important items you will need to make ice candles are buckets. In Prince George, where it gets quite cold out, you need a rugged bucket like this, which will take the expansion of the water when it freezes. If you're in Vancouver and you want to make your ice candles in your freezer where it doesn't get all that cold, just ice cream buckets will work just fine. Each candle is going to require 2 buckets. One is going to be the base and one is going to be the top. What we're going to do is we're going to fill each of the buckets with water, allow them to freeze. If you're doing this at home in, like I say, in Vancouver, and you're going to use your freezer, only put a couple inches of water in the bucket, let it freeze, put a couple more inches, let it freeze. It'll go a lot quicker that way. What the candles are going to look like when they're completed is we're going to take the first block of ice and we're going to set it upside down. So if you envision this as a block of ice the shape of the pail, we're going to take the second block of ice, we're going to put it on top, and then we're going to put a tea light inside. There are various ways of getting the hole in the top to accommodate the tea light. We can either use a drill and drill down, or we can put a bottle in when we're freezing it and then just simply pull the bottle out. So here we have 2 buckets that have been frozen, one with the bottle in it and one without. This one will be a base. If you notice, the bottoms have swollen from the ice. We'll take care of that in a little bit. The key now is to try and get the ice out of the bucket without having it crack. So that'll be our first job this afternoon, is try and get the ice out. So here we are going to try and get the ice out of the candles. They're out of the buckets. You can use a hairdryer and blow warm air on the outside, but I found that the only thing that really accomplishes is it cracks the ice inside. I've taken a work glove and I've put it underneath the bucket just to make sure when the ice falls out, it doesn't crack up against the table. Rubbing it with your hands warms the plastic, also cools your hands down considerably. Okay, so, feels like the ice has fallen. And there's our first base that we're going to work with today. If you'll notice that there's quite a large hump from the ice when it froze. It expanded downwards and was created a hump. If we were to go to put the top on this, it would rock. So there's getting rid of the hump is to take an aluminum file or any file, slowly work the hump out. This is probably the better of the 2 methods in that you can get a very, very smooth base this way. But it does take quite a while. The other option, okay, so it sounds like the ice has fallen. So we'll get rid of our blocks that were just holding the bottle up off the table. And there's our block of ice with the bottle in it. Our goal now is to get the bottle out. Because it's a smooth-sided bottle, it should slide out once it warms up a little bit, so that won't take very long. But in the meantime, we have to get rid of this hump on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll get my saw and I'll just smooth that hump off. So when we put the 2 halves of the candle together, it won't be rolling around. Okay, now I'm going to try to get the bottle out of the ice. It's frozen in. A little bit of very cold water, not warm water. Warm water will cause the ice to crack. We just pour it in. It'll heat up the glass, and then the glass will melt the ice that's surrounding it. So just leave that for a couple minutes and it should come out quite easily. All right, so I think the bottle is ready to come out. Yep, it is. Just a little bit of water, just left it for about 15-20 minutes. And that is where the tea light is going to go. So there's what our ice candle looks like. A little bit lopsided because of the way the ice formed, but with a candle in it at night, it's going to look fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other three. All right, now I'm going to show you how to make it a top with a hole in it if you don't want to use a bottle. So here's what I'm going to use for the top. What I do now is I just start with I use a Forstner bit. Don't use the spade drill bit that people use for woodworking. They will just split the ice. So I use a Forstner bit, and I just start drilling a hole into the ice. Okay, so I drilled about halfway through from the bottom of the top, and now I'm just going to drill in beneath that hole. Well, that's it, folks. That's how you go about making an ice candle. The only thing we have left to do now is to drop a tea light into each one and light them. So when it gets a little bit darker outside, that's what I'll be doing, and then you'll be able to see the end result.